So, yeah, this is a roundup of the bad thing or the last year, the big events. I mean, we could have talked about Venus phosphine, which wasn't in the end, and we could have talked about, discovery of black holes, or we could have talked about, any number of things. But the things that are going to have the greatest impact on humanity are the ones that we're trying to focus on here. The greatest impact on science. So the James Webb, Artemis, going back to the moon. You only had to look at Apollo and how it unified the planet and got everyone kind of together for a short period of time. What's happening now is nothing short of a disaster. So the Russians decided they were going to blow up a satellite and put 1,560 pieces of trackable debris into orbit and tens of thousands of non-trackable pieces of debris into orbit. And they're saying that it's not going to cause a problem. Well, they don't know it's not going to cause a problem. It's like India when they did their ASATs, their anti-satellite test, and they said it's not going to cause a problem. And then there were pieces found at 2,200 kilometer orbits. They're not coming down for a long time. And this is the thing, this whole debris disaster, it's gravity waiting to happen. You just want, George Clooney and Sandra Bullock basically to appear and bring out a fire extinguisher. It's that bad. This is the interesting thing with this, and a friend of mine was imaging the other night, and she was taking images of meteors coming in. We'll talk about meteors in a bit. And one of the videos that she caught was like an entire Starlink train just going by, dozens of satellites in a kind of never-ending stream of debris, of satellites, working satellites at the moment, not debris yet. But if you think about it, if you're a nefarious state, if you're a warmongering state like potentially North Korea, someone like that, and you wanted to cause havoc to the world, do an ASAT test on a Starlink train. Take out the front one and watch all the others just go bang behind. I mean, it's not good. We need to stop this. We need to stop it now. How we stop it, I don't know. I really don't know. It's can you talk to people like Vladimir Putin and say, please don't do that? No, because he'll completely ignore you. And it's whether or not he's got a kind of dual intent here. He doesn't have a constellation. He doesn't have global internet capability. He's not going to have global internet capability. China may have. The FCC, Terry was mentioning before, have got filings now for 94,000 satellites to go into orbit in the coming decades. To put that into context, there are about 4,550 right now active satellites in orbit. Millions of pieces of debris, but in the low thousands of satellites. It is unsustainable. And if it gets so bad that we can't launch anything, and what we were talking about before with deflecting asteroids or deflecting comets isn't going to happen because we won't be able to launch anything to do that. And we won't be able to launch anything to go back to the moon, and we won't be able to launch anything to do scientific exploration. And we'll be stuck on this planet. And yes, we need to fix a lot on this planet. Don't get me wrong, climate change, all that is a huge issue. But space exploration, there's so much we can learn. There's so much we can take from space exploration. And if we keep trashing or literally using low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit as a great big garbage can in the sky as it is, which was what we've done to the oceans, then what are we going to do? We've talked about this so much, Terry, but it's soul destroying in many respects.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would say, okay, if humans never get to Mars, so what? If humans never actually set up a base on the moon, so what? But what they don't really often realize is how much we rely on the satellites that we have up there for our everyday life, from communication satellites and sat-nav to environmental monitoring. There's obviously a lot of military satellites there spying on each other. But the modern world that we rely on now would not exist without the functioning space satellites that we have. Excuse me. And if we do get a runaway Kessler effect, they will eventually all go out of operation and we won't be able to launch any more. So we'll not have any environmental monitoring. We'll not have any way of seeing how agriculture is developing, where the problems are in crops and so on, monitoring climate change. And as I mentioned before, the sat-nav. It's more or less essential now for aircraft. They can't really fly the way they're designed at the moment from A to B without having a sat-nav system to take them there. It can be done, but that's the way they rely on it.
It's the same with
the
shipping,
moment.
Terry. You look at
Shipping as well, yeah.
Massive.
Yeah, even lorries now use it. So it would radically alter our everyday life, whether we ever get to the moon or Mars is another matter. But yes, it would set us back many, many decades in terms of the way we operate our lives at the moment. So it is a very serious issue.